Okay. Just a couple of minutes. Hope you all have a wonderful day, morning, night. All right. Just one more minute, get going. Good morning to Ganges, Rich, Roop, Sharif, Walter. Okay. Alrighty, let's get rocking. Okay. Good morning, Rich. Good morning, afternoon, or night. Lots of people. All right. By the way, before we get started, to those of you that are here, really appreciate it. I know most people have to watch this recording, but I really appreciate it for those of you that are watching this live with me and joining us. Okay, so we're gonna get rocking here. Okay. All right. Good morning, Team FXG from Vancouver. It is June 10th, 8:35 a.m. here in Vancouver, and we're gonna get going. All right. So we had Lagarde speak today. Okay. We know that they're super positive there. Okay. What's going on? They're saying that they're going to continue to buy bonds, essentially debt, consumer debt, business debt. Okay. And that's a good thing for the economy, okay? And also they're going to keep interest rates the same at negative 0.5, okay? So what does that mean? We saw a strong move in the yen, and I believe we're going to now see our continuational move to our next area of sensitivities across the board against the yen, all right? And so that's the case. U.S. consumer prices did go up. That's inflation for you. Inflation is not necessarily a bad thing right now unless it's controlled. However, the market has already relatively priced that in. Okay, we're going to go over Aussie USD, Euro-CAD, Euro Swiss franc, Aussie yen, Aussie Kiwi, Kiwi USD, yen, CAD yen. All right, and then we're going to do a quiz. We've been going through the analysis on all these pairs from the beginning of the week during every live session. Today is going to be a little bit more to the point, okay? So here we are on Aussie Kiwi, okay? Our fundamental direction is strong with the Aussie, okay? Aussie currently, compared to the Kiwi, all right? Aussie's currently at a positive 0.1, Kiwi's at a negative 0.1, fundamentals are flat. However, we were seeing some strength. Now, this is our weekly upper, weekly lower. We have a strong move to the downside. As you can see, we're now making our way back up, but we have to understand that there's a lot of respect here, all right? As we know, and we've talked about in previous live sessions, just a lot of respect and sensitivity at our daily mid-range zone. So once price makes its way here, we're going to be looking for a sell limit order for quick in, quick out to TP2, and then we're out of this, okay? So we still got to wait, be a little bit patient. It's on its way to the upside. It's slow, right? Because fundamentals are flat. Moving on to EUR-CAD. All right, on to EUR-CAD. As we know, all right, let's take it back to the weekly. Okay, so we know that the Canadian dollar has been strong, right, with its correlation to crude. We know right now that fundamentals are +1 to the euro, and CAD is currently at a +3.4. Okay, so the euro is weaker than the CAD. Fundamental direction is still to the downside, and thus we're looking only for entries to the downside. So when we take it to the daily time frame, all right, actually we can show the weekly here. We know we made contact. We made a strong push to our weekly zone. We know that there's buy sensitivity here. That's expected. All right. But we see, due to fundamentals being to the downside, we see sell pressure on a horizontal level. So that means that we have lower time frame consolidation, and we can see that right here. Correct? Consolidation on lower time frame. Consolidation means that price is moving to the side. All right. So what do we know here? We know that we have horizontal sell pressure. Okay. And what we're waiting for is contact before another SLO to the downside for strategy 2. What we're betting on here is that there's not going to be enough buy pressure with fundamentals moving to the downside, and with historical sensitivity, there's not going to be enough buy pressure to move to the upside, and also with this higher time frame downtrend and lower lows adding extra protection. Maybe with time there will be an impulse to the upside, but it really just depends on how strong price moves here. So for example, if we see a significant move to the upside, we're going to cancel this sell limit order. However, if we see it continue to move as expected, we will likely see a nice impulse of sell pressure back to the downside to continue moving on a horizontal level. Okay, Rup is asking, can we do Aussie-CAD as well? Yeah, let's do Aussie-CAD now then. All right, we can do Aussie-CAD. All right. Monthly time frame, Aussie's making its way to the downside. As you can see, here's our monthly upper, monthly lower, weekly upper, weekly lower. Aussie is currently at a positive 0.1, so it's flat. Okay, and USD is currently at a negative 2.3. Short-term fundamental direction is to the upside. Long-term, mid-term, probably flat. It's us guessing. Okay, the term and long-term direction of these two. All right, so what are we seeing? We're seeing that buy pressure is protecting the downside at our monthly. Sell pressure failing to break beneath. We're seeing an impulse to the upside. Now, due to the strength of this move to the downside, what do we have to be careful of? Potential what? Oh, excuse me, this is Aussie-CAD. Fundamentals, excuse me, my bad. Aussie-CAD, not Aussie-USD. Okay, so fundamentals, we restart fundamentals, redoing fundamentals. Okay. Aussie's at a 0, okay? CAD is currently at a positive 3.4. Fundamentals are to the downside, okay? So Australian dollar is weaker, and that actually makes sense because what I was about to say, all right, is that here we have a strong move to the downside, and we have to be careful of double confirmation because many times that is an impulse move, right? So here we actually have our first contact, okay? An impulse to the upside, right? Take profits, SLs, limit orders, market orders, stop orders, all these executions, you know, and all that reaction. This is sensitivity, that area, okay? We may have a move to the downside. So let's identify also area of sensitivity group, okay? What we see is prices breaking. We could see a move to the upside. However, due to fundamentals being to the downside, I'm not going to be looking for entry to the upside. Technically, this looks like a push exhaustion, potential for continuational push, where it could be a stop hunt for another touch and then a move to the upside. And I believe so just because fundamentals are still to the downside. We have to respect that. Okay, moving on. Euro Swiss franc. All right. Hoping for entry on this pair, as you all know. Okay, Euro is weaker than the Swiss franc. Euro is currently at a positive 1. Swiss franc is currently at a positive 2.5. It was stronger in previous days, short-term direction to the downside. When we take it to the daily time frame, we see these nice lower lows, nice push and exhaustion cycles that we've mentioned in previous analysis, right? Push, exhaustion, push, exhaustion, push. What are we waiting for? Exhaustion. Now, we're still waiting for this exhaustion. We just have to understand that we might not get what we were looking for immediately, meaning we saw the push to the downside. We were hoping for contact for SLO for a continuational move. Today's move, okay, means that we're further away from this. So what is likely to happen is we make our way to our daily before a move to the upside. Now, if we make our way to the daily, let's take a look here on the weekly. As you can see here, I'm just going to add a purple zone so you can see. Look at the sensitivity here at our daily time frame, right? Look at that. So we have significant amount of sell pressure, that's resistance, that will become new support, plus buy pressure from these higher highs. Okay, what Euro Swiss franc could do is make contact before then a strong move back to the upside. If we do not, so what I'm trying to say is, if entry doesn't come to fruition, don't panic. There's always going to be trades. All right, so in this scenario, if we don't make our way back for an SLO to the downside, well, we will have a BLO, buy limit order, at this purple zone area of significant sensitivity, because we know that even if fundamentals are to the downside, there will be buy protection and there will be an impulse move to the upside, and we can grab some pips when that happens. Okay, so we're now going to go to Aussie yen. Okay, monthly time frame. Okay, what do we know about Aussie yen? We know that price is making its way to the upside. Fundamentals are Aussie is 0, yen is at a negative 6.7. Right now, we want to be paired against the yen due to Lagarde's speech. Okay, when we go to the weekly time frame, we can see price is making its way to the upside. We have free range pretty much until our monthly zone. Meaning, what I'm saying by free range is, when we're paired against the yen, we're probably not going to see a significant change in direction until we reach our monthly zone. All right, buy pressure broke its weekly, went into consolidation. We're now breaking potential consolidation. Over time, we will make our way definitely to our daily zone at previous high, and likely, okay, to our monthly zone before then a significant change in direction. All right, so what I do want to take a look at here is a daily time frame. We see that squeeze. All right, we can see that we have higher highs meeting lower lows. Call this a wedge, call this a flag, call this a pin, whatever you want, it doesn't matter. What we're waiting for here is two scenarios, as you know: push, exhaustion, entry at price action, entry confirmation at a completion of exhaustion, or we're going to see a move to the downside and a potential stop hunt, where then we're waiting for a potential head and shoulders or reverse head and shoulders type pattern. And the reason why that happens is if there is a stop hunt, so a push to the downside and move right back to the upside, there usually is an exhaustion. So the pattern is, in this scenario, it usually finds, okay, move to the downside, move to the upside, exhaustion, that becomes a reverse head and shoulders, which is usually a reverse head and shoulders is usually a higher time frame stop hunt. Okay, so that's what we're going to be waiting for on Aussie yen. So we have to be patient. This is why we're not setting limit orders on this pair, because we have to wait for price action and entry confirmation. Moving on to Aussie Kiwi. Okay, Aussie Kiwi, as you all know, we talked about this. I believe we were on it. Yep, monthly zone. We see daily mid-range zone. We're looking for SLO on that. Okay, moving on now to CAD yen. Okay, on to CAD yen. Monthly time frame. Since we're in this pair, we'll talk about this from the monthly. Okay, I'm currently in this trade. All right, to our monthly zone. CAD yen currently at CAD's currently at a positive 3.4. Yen is currently at a negative 6.7. Nice separation, CAD to the upside. I believe CAD will stay to the upside until it reaches its monthly zone, because prices hasn't had much of an issue in the past breaking to the upside since optimism came into the market, since vaccines were announced. Okay, we know that the yen is the weakest currency. We can expect that price is going to find its way with buy sensitivity to its monthly until then a change in direction. Okay, when we now take it to the daily time frame. All right, when we're on to the daily, what do we see here? Okay, we see what also is push, exhaustion, continuational push, potential stop hunt to the upside. The reason why we're seeing price break beneath previous high is because there was fear about today. What's going to be said, what's the inflation numbers going to look like? Is it going to be out of hand, or is it going to be as expected? Okay, but the important is this 4-hour close. Okay, so we saw the 4-hour close of break above previous high. So we entered at a little bit early at previous exhaustion, but many times when we see something like this, we see a continuational move. In this case, that's not the case, but I'm not worried about CAD yen. We will see buy sensitivity come into play and likely a move to the upside at some point. Okay, as you can see, we have 3 different injections of buy sensitivity protecting SL. I do want to change. I do want to make an adjustment to SL though. I want to make an adjustment from 90.300 to 90.200. Okay, so SL will adjust to 90.200. just for you all to know. And the reason is I just want to give it a little bit of space. If it comes to the downside, we will have buy protection. So that little extra space makes a difference. Okay, so what we're going to see here is price test and then likely find buy sensitivity, make its way into some sort of, and before another break to the upside. Okay, so no panic on CAD yen, keep rocking this. Okay, moving on to euro yen. Okay, relatively same thing on euro yen. Okay, we saw a strong 4H close, bullish engulfing candle close. As you can see, we're riding a channel, right? We have sell pressure. We thought we were going to break that to the upside. Did not happen. Sell pressure came in. Okay, I think this is also a sell-off from anybody who is potentially short. Okay, the market's digesting the news, potentially selling off their shares or selling their units. Price will respect this channel and make its way to the upside as well. Sell on this is also nice and smooth. Okay, again, just time. Ride this baby. It's with time we'll make our way to the upside. Okay, moving on now to Kiwi USD. All right, monthly time frame, Kiwi USD. Okay, Kiwi is currently at a -1, USD is at -2.3. We were looking for strategy 2, meaning buy limit order. Okay, here we have what we're looking for is double confirmation. Okay, so we have a BLO. However, we're waiting for that retouch before then to move to the upside. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Okay, so we have that one on the burner. All right, now it's time for our quiz, I should say. All righty. There was a lot of good feedback from the people yesterday and those who watched the recordings. Okay, so we're going to get going to the quiz just like yesterday. Please put your answer in the chat room. I'm going to give you 10 seconds after each question. There's 10 questions today, and then we will move forward, and I'm going to quickly explain each one, all right? Okay. Question number 1. If a country has a trade surplus with another country, this means A, it means that there was greater foreign demand for domestic goods than there was domestic demand for foreign goods. B, it means that there was less foreign demand for domestic goods than there was demand for domestic demand for foreign goods, excuse me. It means that there was equal demand for domestic goods and there was demand for foreign goods, and all of the above. A little bit tricky, it's the wording here. Five more seconds. Okay. Close. Yes, Walter's correct. It is A. It means that there was a greater foreign demand for domestic goods than there was domestic demand for foreign goods. Meaning, if you're country A and there is more demand, more money coming in to buy your goods than there is money going out to buy their goods, that means you have a trade surplus, more money coming in than going out. Okay, that's what a trade surplus, and the opposite would be true for trade deficit. Question number 2. Trade flows are affected by 2 things. A, demand for agricultural products. B, foreign and domestic demand for goods. C, foreign demand for domestic goods. D, domestic demand for foreign goods. That's correct. It's B. Everybody's correct. Foreign and domestic demand for goods. Trade flow means money going in, money and out. So foreign and domestic demand is important for trade flow, not just foreign, not just domestic. Okay, moving on. Good job, everybody. 3. Let's say an America wants to buy British engines. That means the USD has to be converted to the pound. What is the most true statement? A, the pound will weaken. B, the pound will strengthen. C, there will be a trade surplus. D, there will be a trade deficit. Well done. It is B. The pound will strengthen. And the reason why the pound will strengthen is because there's more demand for your currency, for the pound, right? So if the US wants to buy UK engines, they have to convert US dollar for the pound, meaning there is more demand for the pound and less supply of that currency. So prices move up, right? We talked about supply demand, and vice versa would be true. For example, if the UK was buying a lot from the US, there would be more demand for the USD. So we talked about that on a big scale. Okay, good stuff. All right, 4. The concept of a currency getting stronger when the country has a trade surplus and the currency getting weaker when the country has a trade deficit is called A, trade flows, B, investment flows, C, balance of payment theory, D, money supply. Well done, everybody. That's correct. It is C, okay? Balance of payment theory. Well done. Okay, so balance of payment theory is essentially saying that when there's a trade deficit, a country's currency will weaken. When there's a trade surplus, a country's currency will strengthen. Now, that's not necessarily true. If we look, for example, at the USD with the $466 billion deficit, or for example, the countries that follow, all right, that doesn't necessarily mean weakness in the currency, but that is what the balance of payments theory suggests. When there's a deficit, there's weakness. When there's strength, when there's a surplus, there's strength. And that makes sense, right? Because what's the process? Let's say there's a deficit, meaning there's more money going out than coming in, meaning that there's not so much demand for domestic goods, right? So that means there's a deficit. So if country goes into deficit, that means the country's currency weakens because there's more supply in the market. And then when the country's currency weakens, then it becomes actually more affordable for countries then to buy their products. So then domestic demand, GDP grows, domestic demand for good grows as that currency weakens because there's more value, and then it balances itself back out. So that's the cycle of the balance of payments theory, okay? So well done. 5, assuming demand stays constant and supply increases, this means A, price increases, B, price decreases, C, surplus, D, deficit. It is B. Well done, everybody. Okay, so when we talk about the supply demand, we can actually draw this out right now on the screen, okay? So if we look at the chart here, okay, when we talk about the supply demand, all right, so this is supply, this is demand, okay? As demand increases, so let's say it moves from where it is now to where it is then, okay? And supply stays constant, price moves to the upside, okay? But now let's talk about the question, right? Assuming supply stays constant, so assuming supply stays constant and demand decreases, that means price has moved to the downside when we talk about dollar value, okay? So it comes down to supply demand, simple supply demand, extremely important concept to understand in depth. Okay, number 6. Same question, I guess. So assuming supply stays constant, demand increases, I just answered that question, okay? That's right. For number 6, it is price will decrease. It is D, price will decrease. Okay, so we'll go straight to 7 because I pretty much answered that question. Forgot I had 2 back to back. Okay, 7. Behind the US, who has the largest trade deficit? A, India, B, Italy, C, Canada, D, the UK. It is D, the UK. The US has 466 billion deficit. The UK has 106 billion deficit, okay? All right, 8. When a company brings back foreign earnings, this is called surplus, A, surplus, B, deficit, C, profit, D, repatriation. It is called repatration. Okay, so the process of repatration is known when a company, usually big companies, have to bring in income from other countries. So, for example, if Apple has 15 billion in sales from Ireland and they want to convert that to US dollars, that process of converting that currency to the home currency is called repatration. Okay, moving on. 9. Which country has the largest population? A, China. B, India. C, US. D, Indonesia. It is A. It is A. China has the largest population and growing fast. China also had a limit to 2 children maximum. They now increased it to 3. Okay, China will continue to grow in size. So will India and the US and Indonesia. Population growth is going high, but China more so. Okay. Number 10, wealth of a country is determined by A, PPI, B, CPI, D, NFP, D, GDP. Okay, good job, everybody. It is GDP, okay? GDP, gross domestic product, standard measure of value add, okay, of all goods and services, okay? So if you were to take all the goods or services of a country and put a monetary value to that, how would it compare to other countries? GDP is used to essentially identify the health of one country compared to the others, okay? Because health of a country is only relative compared to how it is compared to the other countries. So that is it. Awesome, team. So we're gonna start doing these Q&A, these, I guess, quizzes. They're not Q&As. Okay, I guess they're Q&As too. We're gonna start doing these more often. I guess everybody's liking them. All right. So keep rocking, and don't worry about these moves to the downside. We got good SLs on these. We do expect this to move to the upside. We got good 4H closes on CAD, on all our yen pairs. Okay, which is what matters. So anyways, keep rocking. Love you all. See you all on Monday for our live session, but we'll be chatting tomorrow as well. Bye.